The International Human Rights Forum in Beijing has entered its second and final day. Our reporter Han Bin spoke with the President of the Australian Human Rights and Equal Opportunity Commission, John Doussa. He said the disruptions of the Olympic torch relay do not comply with human rights law.
The Beijing Olympic global torch relay has been disrupted by some Tibetan separatists. Do you think such action complies with the international law on human rights?
No, I don't. International human rights law gives people the right to protest, the right to express their views on political and other issues, but it doesn't give them the right to engage in violence, and it doesn't give them the right to prevent other people from going about their lawful business and indeed expressing their particular points of view. Now, the torch is an expression of China's enthusiasm for the Olympic Games. It has the right to make that expression.
China has been under constant attacks by some Western media, and there seems to be a trend of politicizing human rights and imposing Western standards to the country. Do you think this is a useful way in solving differences?
No, I don't think it's useful. I think it misunderstands the situation. The human rights norms or standards which are being invoked are universal. They are rights which China has contributed to, as along with many other nations. The standards are clear enough. I think what is occurring is that the West is saying, well, look, for example, we have broad, open trials with a thorough investigation of crime and so on. You should be doing the same. What that overlooks is the economic situation and the developmental stage of China. I mean, my impression in China is that it seeks to achieve the same standards, but it's coming from a much different base, and it is not possible to achieve here at this time the same degrees of perfection which the West is able to achieve. Given time, I think the situation is going to be very different in China.
In what extent do you think the Beijing Olympics will help promote the country's human rights situation?
I think what the Olympic Games will do is bring to the attention of the world that China is a much more progressive country than it is often understood to be in the West. I don't think people understand China at all in the West. Those that have been here get an immediate different impression of China. I think the Games are going to demonstrate to the world in a very graphic way that China is rapidly developing, and it has made huge achievements in recent years, and that those achievements do include a much improved economic situation for vast numbers of its population. And once you eliminate poverty, well, then you can move on to a situation where people can much better enjoy a much broader range of human rights. So I think what the Olympic Games is going to do is give the rest of the world a much better understanding of the situation in China.
Thank you very much for your time.
And that was Han Bin speaking with the President of the Australian Human Rights and Equal Opportunity Commission, John Doussa.